Today we're focusing on something pretty fundamental, workplace communication. Specifically, we have some excerpts from a guide called Starting Workplace Conversations.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one because, like the title says, it's all about what happens before you even get to the main point of work interaction.
Okay.
And our focus today is actually super specific. It's just one section heading from that guide. Tiny, really, just 4 words, but I think they tell us a lot about the modern workplace.
And that heading is,
How to start small talk at work.
right, how to start small talk at work.
Right. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Our mission today isn't really to review the tips or the how-to part
No, we can't.
because, well, the sources you provided, they gave us the heading, that title, but not the actual content. There's nothing listed underneath it in what we have. Exactly. It's like a blank page with a very, very specific title. So what we need to do, I think, is analyze the context. Why does this heading even exist?
Mm-hmm.
Why did someone creating a professional guide on communication feel that just starting casual chat needed its own explicit section? What does that tell us?
Why is step one, the starting line, seemingly the hardest bit for people?
Yeah.
I suppose that's the paradox, isn't it? The main title, Starting Workplace Conversations.
Uh-huh.
That already tells you something.
It does.
It suggests that for a lot of us, maybe the toughest part isn't, I don't know, writing the perfect email or running a meeting effectively. It's
Right.
just getting started,
Yeah.
overcoming that initial social inertia.
That's spot on. I mean, think about it almost like physics, the physics of a conversation.
Oh,
You're standing there, maybe waiting for the printer next to a colleague. Silence. The actual, energy needed to go from zero, from silence to even a simple hello or some
Yeah.
casual remark.
Yeah.
It feels surprisingly high sometimes. And I think most people maybe default to silence because taking that first step, the icebreaker, it feels like it carries this risk, a risk of awkwardness.
Oh, definitely. That fear of awkwardness, it's huge. It's a really powerful barrier.
Mhm.
And maybe that's exactly why this section heading, How to Start Small Talk at Work,
Yeah.
exists in the first place.
I think so.
It sort of validates that feeling, doesn't it? It tells the person reading it, the learner, hey, you're not alone in finding this tricky.
Yeah.
It suggests that the knack for just breaking the silence isn't, well, it's not innate for everyone, particularly when you add the layer of being in a professional setting.
And that brings us straight to, I think, our first big insight here. The very fact that starting small talk is documented like this. It confirms it's being viewed as a specific skill,
Right.
a distinct, maybe even trainable skill that you need to kind of overcome this psychological friction at work.
Yeah.
It's not just a soft skill anymore. It's almost being treated like a technical requirement for navigating the social side of work.
I see that. It's like needing a manual just for the handshake part of a professional relationship, that initial protocol.
Kind of, yeah.
But if starting a conversation is so, well, basic, so elemental,
Mm-hmm.
why are we seeing it formalized like this in guides now? Has the workplace really changed that much?
Oh, I think it absolutely has. And that really brings us to the second key point, the context. It's the rise of these really complex, often distributed work environments.
Okay.
This section on small talk becomes essential because the actual opportunities for casual, spontaneous interaction have, well, they've shrunk. And maybe the stakes feel higher when they do happen.
Walk me through that. How does hybrid work, for instance, change that classic water cooler or coffee machine moment?
Well, think back to the sort of traditional office model. Pre-pandemic, maybe, small talk could be pretty constant, low stakes. You'd pass people in the hallway multiple times a day.
Casual bumps.
Exactly. You could afford a kind of slow burn in building rapport, but now you might only see someone from another team on a scheduled video call. Very structured.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if you are in the office, maybe you only cross paths with someone from a different department, someone siloed off like once a week, maybe in the break room for 30 seconds.
Ah, so that quick chat by the coffee machine isn't just filler time anymore. It's potentially one of your only chances to build a bit of rapport, some human connection outside of a meeting agenda.
Precisely. That's exactly it. If you don't manage to initiate something in that brief window, that casual moment, you might literally miss your only opportunity that week or even longer to build the trust you need for collaborating effectively later on.
Mm-hmm.
So the guide is essentially teaching people how to maximize those fleeting but potentially high-value interaction moments.
Okay, but isn't there a risk here? If you over-engineer something like small talk,
Mhm.
doesn't it risk sounding, well, robotic?
Mhm.
We're just not genuine.
Yeah.
If you're following some kind of internal script from a guide to ask about someone's weekend, surely the other person can sense that it's not quite, natural.
That's a great point, a really valid challenge, and it highlights the core tension in this kind of guidance, doesn't it?
Hmm.
But I'd argue the guide probably isn't trying to sell authenticity necessarily. It's selling competence.
Competence, okay.
The goal of having documented instructions, like a section heading promises, is likely to reduce the anxiety of starting, to give the learner a way to perform that initial, let's call it social GPS calibration, effectively.
Right, get your bearings.
Yeah. And the idea is once that initial barrier is down, maybe then the more authentic connection can actually follow. It's about getting past the awkward silence first,
Okay, so if we accept that the modern workplace, with its shorter, maybe higher stakes interactions, kind of demands more structure, even for casual chat.
which the guide's existence seems to confirm.
Right. Then what does that suggest about how these skills are valued,
Yeah.
especially by the people, the organizations perhaps, who are commissioning or recommending these guides?
Now that takes us to what I think is the third and maybe the most significant insight from just looking at this heading.
Okay.
It suggests that initiating small talk is now viewed not just as nice, but as a potential driver of, dare I say it, corporate return on investment, ROI.
ROI, from small talk.
Well, indirectly, yes. And it's seen as a key metric, perhaps, for overall professional success. This isn't just about being friendly anymore. It's being framed implicitly as being about business efficiency.
How do you get from breaking the ice about the weather to bottom line efficiency? Connect those dots for me.
Think about collaboration, innovation, just basic knowledge sharing within a company. All those things rely heavily on easy communication and, crucially, psychological safety.
Right. Feeling comfortable talking to colleagues.
Exactly. Now, if your team members feel socially isolated, or if that friction we talked about earlier, that awkwardness, prevents them from just casually sharing an idea or asking a quick question,
Hmm?
then the work actually slows down. Things get missed. Opportunities are lost.
Okay, I see. So by providing a guide, or at least a section in a guide, on how to start small talk at work, an organization might actually see it as an investment, like investing in relationship infrastructure.
That's a great way to put it. Relationship infrastructure. They're trying to ensure that every employee, even the ones who are brilliant technically, but maybe less comfortable socially, can still operate smoothly within the company's social network. Because if you hire someone who's, say, a genius coder, but they can't or won't talk to anyone casually, their brilliance might stay stuck in a silo.
Yeah, it doesn't spread.
Right. So the guide is there to provide the social grease, maybe, needed to make sure all the cogs in the machine can move together smoothly, even the socially nervous ones.
And for you, the listener, maybe someone preparing for a job interview or starting a new role, the fact this guide exists, that this topic is explicitly called out, it tells you something important.
Absolutely.
It tells you this skill,
Right.
starting small talk,
Yeah.
it's maybe not just assumed anymore. It might actually be something that's being, assessed, looked for.
Definitely. Think about an interview, those first few minutes. The chat before the real questions start, that's not just filler. No, it's often a live test. It's an assessment in real time of your social awareness, your ability to handle a little bit of low-stakes ambiguity or stress, and frankly, your potential fit with the team culture.
So if you stumble right at the start, in the small talk phase,
It could potentially color the perception of your overall professional competence, fairly or unfairly.
wow. Okay, that really elevates the importance of a simple heading like how to start small talk at work. It's not just a helpful hint. It sounds almost like a foundational requirement being flagged.
It signals that successful initiation is foundational. If you're someone looking at resources like this, focusing on how to start is probably the right priority.
Right.
The actual content under that heading, if we had it, would likely offer very practical, maybe even repeatable frameworks. Things like suggested opening questions, scripts, maybe even notes on nonverbal cues.
Things designed to give someone who feels uncertain a kind of reliable roadmap.
Exactly. Turning something that feels spontaneous and risky into a more manageable, structured process.
Which, thinking about it, is probably exactly what a lot of people in highly technical or analytical roles might prefer.
Should be.
They might not want to rely on feeling spontaneous.
Yep.
They might actually want a method, a proven approach.
And that's likely the market, or at least part of the market, that a guide like this serves. It addresses the reality that we're increasingly reliant on digital, often text-based communication, which can make actual face-to-face or even voice-to-voice interaction feel a bit more, well, foreign or high pressure.
Yeah.
So it needs explicit instruction on how to do it well. It demystifies the casual connection.
So wrapping this up then, what does this all mean for you, the listener, as you navigate your own work life?
Well, I think it means that if you've ever felt that initiating conversations at work is a challenge, you're definitely not alone. It's widely recognized.
Yeah.
And it's maybe shifted from being just a nice-to-have social grace.
To something more fundamental.
Exactly. Something seen as part of the necessary infrastructure for effective collaboration in today's often fragmented workplaces.
So this deep dive, just looking at a single section title, How to Start Small Talk at Work, it's really shown us quite a lot.
It has. It suggests that the ability to smoothly bridge that gap from silence to connection is becoming a kind of modern workplace superpower.
And the very need for guides to document how to do it signals a potentially massive shift in how we define, and maybe even train, essential professional skills. Okay, and that brings us, as always, to our final provocative thought for you to consider.
All right.
If something as seemingly basic as knowing how to start small talk at work now requires its own detailed, documented instruction in professional development guides, what does that suggest, fundamentally, about the trade-offs we might be making?
Trade-offs between what?
Between, say, hyper-structured, perhaps digitally driven efficiency on one hand, and maybe more innate, casual, evolved human competency on the other. Are we, in effect, professionalizing every last element of personal interaction?
That's definitely something to mull over. Perhaps as you prepare for your next quick chat with a colleague.
Indeed. Thank you for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.